You're rocking with the voice of Town View. We put our spin on trending topics and school news. Thought-provoking, insightful, we speak the truth. We do it for all ages, not just for the youth. Listen close, you might learn something. Or laugh so hard, you split your side of something. Live stream a podcast. Whenever you tune in, it's sure to be a blast. Let's be honest, you don't want to miss that. Content so real, you're going to want to run it back. We keep you entertained while making an impact. Want foreign announcements? Well, this is not that. Sports, pop, culture, political. Whatever you like, we got you covered, bro. It's a movement more than just a show. It's KSBM Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. This is KSBM Radio, the voice of Town View, and I'm here with
Doc.
And I'm JoJo, and we're back again for another sports segment. I know this is everybody's favorite show.
Everybody's favorite show. People love this.
It's the unofficial, official, most favorite, best ever show.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what you been up to, Doc?
Nothing much really. AAU summer basketball season is getting ready to start, so I've been practicing for that the last 2 weeks. Still, obviously, doing schoolwork, trying to wrap up the school year strong, you know.
Just trying to get through the year.
Yeah, just trying to get through it, bro. Yeah.
Almost done. When do y'all graduate? It's like May.
We graduate.
No, earlier than that, right?
Nah, we graduate May 28th. Yeah, May 28th is our graduation.
I thought y'all got off way earlier than that.
Yeah, our last day. I don't really know when our last day is. I know grades are due like at like the second or third week of May though. So we don't have as much time as everybody else to get our grades right or keep our grades right. So we the seniors have to stay on top of things.
I don't know. It seems like a small price to pay to get out early. I'd much rather have to be on top of my stuff for that last little bit just to get that extra time off. Especially since once you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah. And some people not even gone for real. Some people might have to stay behind for like summer graduation or something like that. So
that's so depressing.
But luckily, I don't think any of our seniors are on track to do that. So that's good
for that, right?
Yeah,
ain't that right?
We handle our business. That's why we're in the school of business, because we take care of business. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah. All right, what you been up to?
Nothing much really. Just been on top of my stuff too. Just trying to make sure I set a strong foundation for my senior year. Dang, I'm about to be a senior. You're about to be a freshman in college.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Whenever I hear that, it boggles my mind. It's insane.
Yeah, I feel like it hasn't really hit me that I only got 1 year left of high school, and you're about to be done with it. So, has it hit you yet?
It's starting to. It hit yesterday. Like,
what made it hit?
I don't even know for real. Like, I think randomly, or no, it's because I decided what college I was gonna go to, like officially, and so that was when it hit.
That's when it cemented in your mind.
Yeah.
Dang, I really gotta start looking into colleges more like seriously, because I feel like all throughout high school I've kind of just been like, oh yeah, that's for like senior year and late junior year. Oh wait, it is late junior year. But
yeah.
All right, enough about school. Let's get into sports. That's what we're here for. Sports.
I like how you said that at the same time. I'm sorry
about that, y'all. I'm sorry.
All right, so our first topic for today, we are going to talk about, is it time for Damien Lillard to move on from the Portland Trail Blazers? So, as some of y'all may know, Damien Lillard is a basketball player for the Portland Trail Blazers. Mm-hmm. He was drafted with the 6th overall pick in 2012 and has played for the Portland Trail Blazers ever since then. In my opinion, Dame is one of the most loyal players in the NBA.
Undoubtedly,
for sure. He's through the ups and downs of the team. He's been one of those guys who stuck it out this entire time. People are all over social media saying that he should get out of there, and he needs to request a trade, go somewhere else, find a change of scenery, or do something to get this team to win. And I mean, Dame has done his best. He's had multiple 30-point season averages, but sometimes the team just does not fully come through for him, like when it matters. So, JoJo, I want to know what your opinion is on this topic.
I gotta say, I have to agree with everybody on social media. He needs to get out of there. Like,
Okay.
I love a guy who will like stick it out with the team, but like it's only to a certain point. Like, most of the great players that come to mind when you think of like staying on the same team, like Jordan for the most part, except for those last few years, Dirk, Kobe, those guys, they all won championships, and that really is like what cemented them in that franchise. But really with Dame, it's not his fault at all. He's been phenomenal for them, but the team hasn't done what they needed to do to get him in a position to win it all and to really take his career and his legacy to that next level. Because who can you really think of that's like another superstar talent level, or like somebody else that's even on his level that the Trailblazers have given him to help him on a journey to a championship? The only people that really come to mind is CJ McCollum and Carmelo Anthony. Like, and even that Carmelo Anthony, that was already when he was like out of his prime. You know, his prime years were in who was it? The Knicks, right?
For sure, yeah.
And that was already like, he wasn't a scrub or anything, but he just wasn't performing at the level he was before. So no knocking on Melo, but they just haven't really done nothing to give him the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And so the Blazers, they are currently 13th in the Western Conference with a record of 32-43.
Yikes.
They have 7 games left in the season. They play tonight. They play the Sacramento Kings tonight, who are looking to clinch their first playoff berth in 16 years.
That's wild.
So
My whole life, literally. That's crazy. As long as I've been alive, they have not been in playoffs.
I want to say
That's insane.
I want to say if the Blazers lose tonight, they might be done for the season. Like
I think so.
They might not have a chance to make the playoffs if they lose, because the 7th seed right now, they have 39 wins. So
How many games are they behind? 5, right?
yeah, they're back 5 games from the 10th seed. They have 33 wins. I want to say OKC is 10th right now, and they have 38. So it'll be harder for them to overcome that, especially with the upcoming schedule.
Yeah, their schedule. I was just about to say their schedule is not easy. It's all like mid to high seed playoff teams. Like I think it's the Warriors,
Yeah.
the Clippers, the Kings twice. I think, yeah. Who else?
They have Memphis and San Antonio.
Yeah. So it's not looking easy.
Yeah. So
They got a rough journey ahead of them, but you know, I mean, you always got to root for a guy like Dame because I don't know, he's one of my favorite players of all time, and it was. Would you do? Would you do that for?
Nah, it's because I don't think I've like ever heard that before. Like I don't think I've heard a person say that Dame is one of their favorite players of all time.
I'm not saying he's like best point guard,
Right.
Like not even like not top 10, no. But he's just like one of those guys that, especially since he's known as one of the most clutch guys in the league, you know, Dame time and everything. I don't know, it's just something about that like, you know, when he gets the ball in his hand with like 10 seconds left, tie game, you know he's gonna like hit the shot. So
Sure. Yeah.
it's just something ecstatic about that. It was kind of like, I don't know, it's just something about like point guards and guards that can show up in the big moments and that are just really exciting to watch, like D-Rose.
For sure.
It's
of
just
course.
something about those type of guys that are my favorites. But realistically, if I see him leaving to anywhere, I'd probably, the best landing spots for him, in my opinion, would probably have to be, it's between the 76ers and the Bucks. They're both in the East, but if I were to pick someone in the West, I'd have to go. It's because they all in the West. There's no shortage of guards
At all.
And I guess the only team I could really see that he might fit into their system is the Nuggets, maybe, because they have Jamal Murray, but that's really about it for guards.
I think if he was to go to Denver, they'd have to give up Jamal Murray to get him.
Dame with Jokic though, that'd be nasty.
That'd be nasty, yeah.
But my only concern with him going to the Bucks would have to be because the Bucks they run a really tight what's the word? Ship. There you go. They run a really tight ship, and I don't know if what they'd have to give up for him would mess up their whole system and what they got going on. But when you get a guy like Damien Lillard mixed or paired with Giannis, I feel like that makes up for it, and they'll just go to the next level. What do you think about my picks for where he would go?
Well, I think those are some good picks. I think what Dame does need on his team is like a wing or a power forward who can do nearly the things that he does or carry an offense the way that he does. The Sixers, probably not. I guess it would all just depend on what James Harden decides to do this offseason, because he's going to be free agent. I feel like he's going to stay, though. So if he stays, they already have Tyrese Maxey as shooting guard, so there wouldn't be any room for Dame because he can't come off the bench.
No, definitely not. If anything, I'd see him almost replacing James Harden in a way.
The Bucks, I could see that. They could just move Drew Holiday to shooting guard and have Dame run point.
I mean, that's where he was originally, like a few years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So it'd be an easy transition.
And then the Nuggets, I don't know. I guess for the Nuggets, it would be a lot to package off. Because you can't just give up Jamal Murray. You'd have to give up a couple role players and a couple draft picks to get Dame. And Dame is 32. So, I mean, I don't know if you really want to risk your future draft capital for that. But, I mean, if you want to go all the way, which I know the Nuggets do, that might be a crucial point for them.
I feel like for a lot of teams, Dame is like a almost win now sort of option. Like how the Nets went all in a few years back to win the championship, which didn't happen. It's more like because like you said, he's 32, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't have many years left in the tank. It's not like he's slowing up right now, but just in generality, is that how you say it? Just in general, players around that age, they start slowing up a little bit, and they're not what they used to be. So I feel like it'd have to be their window of opportunity, and the window they have to win would be shorter compared to a young guy. But Dame is just one of those guys that he'll get you there if you put him on the right team.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, I think Dame should stay.
What makes you say that?
When I look at the Portland Trailblazers, I feel like their future is really bright, and Dame time has not run out yet. He's still averaging 32 points a game. He's averaging 32 points a game this season. Their rookie Shaedon Sharpe, he before the game on Monday night against the Pelicans, he had 3 straight games of putting up 24 points a game. So that's just like a shade of what he can do. And he's just recently started to get playing time for real. Like some games he played like 3 or 7 minutes. Now he's playing almost nearly 30 since Dame hasn't been playing. But yeah, he had those 3 straight games of 24 plus points. Anthony Simons, their starting shooting guard, he averages 21 points a game on a pretty efficient 44% shooting. And he's only 23 years old. And then Jeremy Grant, he averaged 20 points and 4 rebounds on a very efficient 47% shooting, at least for the shots that he takes. And they traded for him last offseason. So I think that they have a really strong young core, as well as they traded for Cam Reddish at the trade deadline. And they also have Nasir Little, Nurkic, and I want to say he's averaging like 13, 14 points a game, 9 rebounds. So it's not like they lack a big man, but I think another one could be due for them. They also have 2 draft picks in the first round for this year. One of them is supposed to be a lottery pick, which is top 14. And then they have another one, which is projected to go 21st. So I think if they want to get Dame to stay, if they want a big shot at winning it or at least going further than they have this season next year, I say that they should re-sign Jeremy Grant as well as Matisse Thybulle and Cam Reddish this offseason because they're all going to be free agents. So it'll be crucial to pick all of them up to keep the dynamic going. I think they should also sign DeMarcus Cousins or Patrick Beverley because right now, when you look at their roster, they don't have a backup point guard. So Dame is really the only true point guard out there on the floor. So getting Patrick Beverley, not only does it give you an extra point guard, but it also gives you defense and aggression, physicality, somebody who plays with passion all the time. So he'll be very good for their team. With those 2 draft picks that they have, I say that they should draft the point guard from the University of Houston, Marcus Sasser, or they could draft the forward from the University of Arkansas, Jordan Walsh, with that 13th pick. I think both of them, Marcus Sasser, one thing about him, he has a lot of speed with his game. And so I think it'll be very crucial, or that'll be a good thing for them to come off the bench, somebody who can push the pace, score at will whenever he needs to. Jordan Walsh is just a good defender. He can shoot. He's aggressive, athletic. So somebody who can run the floor with Dame or one of the other guards. And with the 21st pick, they can get the center from Duke, Derek Lively. I think he can make an instant impact, specifically more on defense than offense. But his defense is going to be necessary, and he'll be needed. If they don't do that, well, then they can use that 21st pick and trade Nurkic, Keon, and a couple of role players for a star. A star I have in mind is Julius Randle or maybe Tobias Harris. I think that'll be good, and then they can use that 13th pick to draft another big or something. Plus, I mean, he's been loyal all this time. Why jump ship now? I mean, he's one of the biggest advocates of loyalty. So, and not just on the court or to the team, but also like in life. So,
yeah, and that I can definitely agree with you. I want him to leave, but I don't think he's ever leaving. But
he probably won't. I doubt it. He says he wants to win in Portland, and I don't think that there's even a chance of him leaving until he wins.
What do you think it would take for him to leave? Like, it'd have to be something crazy, right?
Like just like absolute turmoil. Like, say that they lose Anthony Simons, say that they bomb Jeremy Grant, get rid of Nurkic for absolutely nothing in return. I think something like that, like if the organization looks like it's heading in the direction opposite of where it should be going, that might trigger him and make him want to leave. But I don't think because the Blazers have had solid draft history, I think they'll make the right decisions.
Interesting. Well, that wraps it up for our segment, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned.
Yo, what's up, KZN family? Currently enjoying the show? But don't leave us just yet. We'll be right back after this short break. This is KSBN Radio Sports and Entertainment section coming up, where we bring you the latest sports and the most entertainment going on around the world. So sit back and enjoy.
Welcome back to KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview. I'm Doc.
And I'm JoJo.
And our first topic, or well, our second topic, is going to be about the UFC. So, JoJo, what we got today?
It's a bit of a continuation of our last segment on our last show. We didn't get to talk about everything we needed to, and it was kind of a big deal. So we need to talk about it right now, which is Leon Edwards beating Kamaru Usman to win the UFC championship. Yeah, it was. I feel like now the haters can't really say anything about Leon Edwards because before, Kamaru Usman was beating him in their first fight. He was beating him like by a lot, and it was in the last few rounds. The biggest thing that they were saying, well, because he got knocked out, it was a clean, nasty kick to the head, straight to the dome. He hit a little feint to the body, dropped his hands, boom, straight to the head, side kick. But a lot of people were hating on him and saying, it was just luck, da-da-da-da. But now they can't really say nothing because it was to a decision. No knockouts, no last-minute miracles. It was a decision, and they picked Leon Edwards. And now the question is, do you think there should be a rematch between the two, or do you think Leon Edwards should set his sights on somebody else, like the other contenders?
Well, they fought twice, right? Mm-hmm. And Leon Edwards just won this past match. Usman won the first one, right?
No, Usman lost, and it was a rematch, and because he lost his belt, Usman was the championship in the first fight, and he lost it to Leon Edwards. So now Leon was the champ in the first fight, or in their second fight, the rematch.
Oh, so Usman lost both?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just move on.
You think so?
Yeah, because I mean, like, if Usman had won one and Edwards had won one, then you could go for a third match, like for a tiebreaker. But if you're down 2-0, it's likely time to give up. I mean, I know they say third time's a charm, but like, I think one thing that UFC could adjust to is rather than having fights end in decision, it has to be a result of a knockout.
You think so?
Yeah, because I mean, decisions can be heavily biased, and so I see that in a lot of the UFC fights. And so like even when a person is clearly beating on their opponent, it's like they just make super biased decisions. And I'm like, I think it should be based upon who has like really put like the harder hits, harder combos, like what's really like who's really winning the fight. Like when you physically look at it and play this back, who is really winning the fight?
I don't know. I kind of think that's really dangerous to the fighters because imagine like when you're locked in a fight and the only way to get out of it is either you knock the dude out or you get knocked out. Yeah. I feel like the amount of CTE that the fighters would receive in addition to what they already have is like, it'd be way too much for them to handle. Like there are some tough dudes, but I don't know. It's a little too much. But I mean, I like the fight. The what's the word? The three-peat. There you go. The three-peat, because when you really look at it, there's no really other contenders. I mean, Colby Covington's the number 2 contender, but the storyline right now is between Usman and Edwards.
Of course.
I mean, you could. There is another storyline with Jorge Masvidal, who's the number 11, but they had a little scuffle behind the scenes in one of the UFC. I can't remember which one it was, but Masvidal, sucker punched him, and they were gonna fight, but then they got separated, obviously, and so now they beefing a little bit. But I mean, there's other guys where like Khamzat Chimaev. That's another fight I'd want to see. After the Usman fight, I'd want to see that one again. But I kind of see the point of view where people might think like, oh, they're trying to get Usman to be the pretty boy of the UFC, and they're like feeding him the fight until he wins. I can see that standpoint, but it's also like this is like the main fight right now in that weight class. So, but another fight that's coming up right now is Israel Adesanya against what's his face, Alex Pereira.
Yes.
I don't know. Alex, the dude that had already beat him twice in kickboxing and once in the UFC. So he's the champ right now. It's kind of like a situation where, like the Leon Edwards situation where Israel Adesanya was the champion and pretty much ran through the division. He cleared out everybody. Nobody could really touch him until his kryptonite came from, I think he's Brazilian. I might be wrong about that. Until his Brazilian kryptonite came in and knocked. I don't think he knocked him out, but he lost, and he lost the belt. And I gotta respect Adesanya because he always takes his losses with class, and he never tries to make excuses. He's always like, I lost, I was beaten, but they're doing a quadruplet. I don't know. They're fighting for the fourth time to see if Adesanya can finally come out with the dub. Do you think that's right to where they've already fought 3 other times and they're gonna fight a fourth time? You think that's right?
If that's what the people want and that's what the wrestler or like the fighters want, I think they should go for it. It's not this isn't like the WWE where you have scheduled fights. So, you do schedule the fight, but like
staged fights.
Yeah. But if I think it's fair, I think it comes to a point where like you just move on to like another fighter. Like take it down a notch, and then once you feel like you've done all the preparation and all the training that you need to do, you can go back in for the bull.
I can agree with that. But the problem is there's no really like any other fighters that, because that's Israel Adesanya's nickname. He already cleared out the division. So if since he already beat Adesanya, that means he can basically beat anybody else. But at the same time, UFC is one of those companies and sports where anything can happen, and certain styles mix better with others and different matchups because there's like grapplers, there's strikers, there's ground and pound, there's like brute force, there's a whole bunch of different styles, and it really depends on your style of fighting, and they both have similar styles, so I feel like anybody can really beat them. An interesting fight that I think would really be interesting is if Khamzat Chimaev moves up in the weight class to be able to fight for him, because right now he's in welterweight and he'd have to go up a weight class. So I feel like that would be a really good fight. See if he's up for the challenge.
You know how much it would take to increase how much you weight up?
I don't know. I feel
not just weightlifting, but like also eating, but also maintaining a diet.
I feel like fighters are kind of used to that though, because they're already used to. Because almost like majority of fighters don't fight at the weight they walk around at. They cut down weight before the fight, and then the day of or the day before they blow up, they like actually eat instead of starve themselves. They actually drink water, basic human abilities, and they fight at like 20, sometimes like 20 plus pounds of what they weighed in at.
That's crazy.
But I think we should move on to our next topic, which is players getting injured in the NBA. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, or you go ahead.
All right. So when players get injured in the NBA, you see it happen often. Some injuries can be minor, like just a little soreness in your thumb, or like some like a little pinch. A little pinched nerve in your
muscle soreness.
Yeah, some muscle spasm or something like that. But then there are those where accidents happen, and so those are the ones where like you might go for a shot contest and then you might jump into the dude, and the dude might turn his leg wrong, and then boom, he tears his ACL. But our focus today is going to be how much stress a player can put on their body. So a couple of guys, or one specific guy that I'd like to talk about, who was very notable for injuries, specifically earlier in his career, is Derrick Rose. After or even during his MVP season, during the lockout year, he only played 39 games of 66. And so, during his MVP season, during the playoffs, he went down with a torn ACL. They were up double digits, and I want to say it was in the fourth quarter against the Philadelphia 76ers in the playoffs. He was on a fast break. He did a little hop step, and then he came down his leg wrong, and then obviously for sports fans, the rest is history. They came out with the news that he had torn his ACL. He missed the entire following season recovering from that injury, and then when he came back, he tore his meniscus in the other knee. So obviously, when you look at D Rose's youth, he was obviously known for his athleticism. He didn't have much of a three-point shot, but he was highly athletic. And so, he was one of those guys who,
he was just
what could have been, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the main reason was, or a big factor that had to do with his injury was obviously a freak accident, but the stress he put on his body, because he was, like you said, he was known for his athletic ability, and with guys like those, they jump so high and fall so often that the ligaments, their muscles, everything, they over time wear down. And even recently, there have been, I feel like the frequency of injuries has increased by a lot. Like even Kevin Durant, he was doing some warm-ups and he got injured.
Yeah, I feel like that might have been on the ball boys though, because if there's a wet spot on the court, like they should be able to pick that out and like wipe it up. But he's coming back tonight though, so
thankfully. But I feel like players have, especially recently, they have been putting so much more stress on their body that over time I think of it like this: players have a certain amount of time where their body functions in the way they want it to, and at its peak. And as soon as you start playing, like for a team or like seriously, your timer starts going, and by the time like now people are starting to play serious so young, like AAU and sports camps, basketball camps, and all throughout high school, college. And then by the time they get to the NBA, they've played the same amount of time that some NBA legends have already played, and that's when the legends are starting to get injured. So now, by the time they're like early or if not midway through their career, they're already starting to get injured just as much as the older guys would.
Mm-hmm. One guy or another guy, a couple guys who have also been injured. Lonzo Ball. Mm-hmm. He had a couple foot injuries, of course, but I feel like that was the shoes, the big baller brand shoes, where they were not it.
Not basketball shoes.
It's something about the material they were made with that was not cut for basketball, really. Yeah. He had a shoulder sprain 2 months into his rookie year. A couple months later, he had a left knee bruise. He had two ankle injuries in 3 weeks from December in his second year. Obviously, the most notable injury that he has yet to come back from was the torn meniscus that he suffered in January of 2022. He's had 3 surgeries. He just got the third surgery not too long ago, and he got a cartilage transplant. And so now he's going to work his way back and hopefully be the first NBA player ever to come back from a cartilage transplant surgery. Do you think Lonzo is gonna be able to come back?
I don't know. That's a long rap sheet of injuries.
It
You were going
really
on for
is.
like a minute or two just on his injuries. Will he be able to come back? I don't know because, like you said, nobody has ever come back from a cartilage transplant, and it's just one of those things where, especially in basketball, where you're jumping up and down and you're putting so much stress on your cartilage that it might be detrimental to his health if he does come back, and it might put him at bigger risk than he already was.
Yeah. Some more guys who have also suffered injuries were Zion with a hamstring in the foot. Kobe later in his career, obviously he played so many seasons and carried so many Lakers rosters that he had to put extra stress on his body. He was waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, going to work out.
3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that man was crazy.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
LeBron obviously, he's like probably one of the most athletic guys that we've seen in the modern era. One thing that I'd like to make note of about Kobe, he tore his rotator cuff in 2015, right? And he proceeded to play basketball and would shoot with his left hand.
That's
like,
wild.
It's crazy how dedicated he was to playing basketball.
Did you hear about that story? I think it was Kevin Hart that told it, where he was at like a basketball camp, and you know the one.
I know the story you're about to talk about.
And the coach they had like a group meeting or whatever, and he pointed at Kobe. He was like, "You know what this dude is here for? He's here to work on his left hand. He's been working on his left hand the whole camp, and he was cooking these dudes." Oh my God! I
only shot his left hand. That was so
R.I.P.
funny.
How long did he play with his left hand? Because he retired in 2017. Right?
Yeah, he played. I mean, a rotator cuff heals usually in about a couple months, probably like 4 or 5 months. So he may have had to play like that for like the rest of the season, but I doubt it.
He's just built different. He'll be fine in like a month or two.
One thing I've also one thing I've noticed with players getting injured, it's usually the ones that are like super athletic, like guys like Russell Westbrook. I remember a couple seasons ago, he was out to begin the season with a thigh and a knee injury. Blake Griffin had a bunch of back and knee injuries during his later years with the Clippers. LeBron now gets injured quite often.
I mean, he lasted a long time without sustaining any major injuries, which was a miracle, especially since he was such a physical force in the paint, and he was always attacking with his physical prowess and doing all these crazy jumps, catching bodies, and all that stuff.
Yeah, but one thing that I think could potentially cause less injuries to pro athletes is steroids. Now, they may not be good for you, and in my opinion, I don't think that they're good, because it's just like the side effects of them, pain and discomfort, temporary bruising and blood collection, red swelling, pain, cartilage, nerve damage, like.
Not to mention like the physical effects like acne, mental effects too, like anger issues, just all of that.
Yeah, me personally, I don't think it's good. How do you think? What do you think about it?
I don't know. I kind of like it. I like it, but I don't know. Cause could you imagine if players were allowed to take roids? Like, could you imagine a Marshawn Lynch on steroids, a LeBron, a Miami Heat LeBron? Ooh, I don't know. But then again, everybody would be able to. So
yeah,
it would kind of balance out.
I mean, yes, and I feel like it'll make the sports more entertaining. But at the same time, it's high risk, low reward.
Because these guys are already performing at such a high level.
Especially with what they do. Would
the little more entertainment that it provides really be worth their health? Like,
right.
But that just about wraps it up. You want to take us out of the segment?
All right. Well, that is the end of our show. if you look down at the bottom of the screen, our social media is down below.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all of
Facebook, all social media platforms at KSBM
Find us on
Radio,
Anchor, Spotify, all of that.
Spotify. Listen to us anywhere you want to. I'm kidding, not anywhere. It's really just Anchor, Spotify.
Just
you watch our videos on YouTube. But that's it for our show. Once again, I'm Doc.
And I'm JoJo.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to KSBM Radio, the voice of Townview.
My radio station.
We hope you enjoyed the great content and great discussion, all from a student's perspective. Make sure to follow us on Twitter for the latest updates at KSBM_TVT or on Facebook at KSBM Radio.
Add them on Facebook.
Check them on Facebook.
Take care.